when I was a kid, my favorite toy was Bakugan.
Okay.
And so I realized that Bakugan technically isn't a TCG, but it also technically is because you have cards that you can trade and there's a game built around it.
Yeah.
But it's the most bare bones game ever.
We've got a metal rectangle that the Bakugan goes on to.
Yeah, so you have your gate card, which is like basically it lets your toy work.
It's like those metal memory trackers that we got.
It's a magnet, isn't
yeah,
it?
Yeah.
It's a magnet.
Yeah. Well,
So
your Bakugan has a magnet in it.
Wait, hold
But
on.
it has to touch a magnet to unfurl.
I've
And
never
it has to touch a piece of metal.
I've
Okay,
never
yeah.
touched Bakugan, seriously, and I've never played the game.
Okay.
Is there an actual game?
There is a game.
Okay.
It is so small that you can't consider it a trading card game. However, it's played with 6 cards total. You have 3 gate cards, which are the
Oh,
things
that's Pocket Paragon.
kind of, yeah. Players take turns putting a card down on the field, and then you roll it. If 2 Bakugan open up on the same card, then you flip the card over and you fight. And then you have cards that you can use from your hand called ability cards that raise your power.
Yeah.
And whoever wins 3 gate cards by rolling Bakugan onto them wins the game.
Gotcha.
That is it.
That's the entirety of it.
That is not a trading card game.
No.
That is
It's arguably not even a card game. It's more like rolling marbles.
well, so and that's what I'm saying. But technically, it is played with cards that you can trade with people.
Sure.
And they're acquired through a similar method by buying packs.
Gotcha.
Randomized. Yeah, gotcha.
I love gacha games. I love World of Warcraft.
Technically,
not a gacha game.
when I asked my dad to drive me to a Bakugan tournament that was 2.5 hours away from my house,
Where was it?
Was he high?
No, don't answer that.
Hold on.
that was my first TCG event that I've ever been to. It was like a regionals.
But was it like
I was 11.
You
Was
wait
it
hold
in
on.
the area?
You went from never attending to going to a regional.
Yes.
That's a big step up.
Yes. Well, who has Bakugan
well,
locals?
wait, was it in our province?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
all I was curious.
Yeah, it was
was
in
it
our
north or south?
I'm not going into this.
Just let me know if it was north.
It was
Because that's what I'm curious about. The further north we go, the lower the population. At a town population of 5,000.
Listen, dude, North Bay has a popping Bakugan scene.
I think it was east.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
They know we're in Ontario.
Okay.
Is it in Toronto?
It was in Vaughan.
Oh.
That's not 2.5 hours away.
Like 2 hours away.
All right.
Never eat shredded wheat. It's definitely north. Toronto's north.
Yeah.
Northeast.
Okay.
Now they know our exact location.
I have-
Geocache.
Ian, cut this. I went to a Bakugan regional tournament and I came, I think, second place.
He came all of those Bakugan players.
That's how they stick the monsters to the cards.
You gotta cut that too. That's terrible. Yeah, I talked my first Bakugan regional.
How many people were there? 2?
There was actually a decent amount of kids, but we're all like, I was fighting kids that were 5 years younger than me and I was 11.
Yeah.
So
There were 6.
not particularly
Yeah.
that difficult. You also didn't get to bring your own deck. It was all draft.
Oh, I love Keyforge.
Wait, did you have to pay?
No.
They were just giving out Bakugans.
They were just like, here, use these Bakugan. They're here.
Did you get to keep them?
No.
Those scumbags.
Yeah, I know, right? But,
So you made it onto the national circuit.
and then, if you top, you win an invite to go to the big Bakugan tournament
In the sky.
In Toronto.
To Worlds. You go to Worlds, the World Tournament.
Yeah.
I didn't go.
Where's the world
In
tournament?
second
located?
place, you didn't go.
I think it was in New York City.
That's not that far.
I mean, maybe it's not
Your
Worlds,
dad
like-
could drive you there in 2.5 hours.
I don't think about 2.5 hours.
It's-
You drove fast enough.
It just made
is
me
literally like 2.5
think
hours
because
away.
It's further than that.
Oh wait, New York City. New York is only like 2 hours away. You
I
get
don't
to
think
Buffalo in 2 hours.
Maybe. 2 hours is still a stretch from this location, but
What is this location? Please give me your exact. Can I just get your longitude?
I
and
live
latitude
in
coordinates?
from my experience as a child, you would never consider Bakugan to be a TCG regional tournament. Not in the way that I consider it now, but technically that's like where my first regional I ever went to was. And it's just wild to think that I started trading card games not by building decks or shuffling up and playing against my opponent. I was rolling marbles to see if they would open on a
coming
piece of
second
metal.
coming second to a 6-year-old.
Is that?
And the more things change, the more they stay the same.
But then, so the interesting thing is now Bakugan has an official TCG.
Yeah.
I didn't
Wait,
know
hold on.
that.
It's a different game?
Now
Is it actually a card game? now?
so in 2011 it was done.
Yeah.
And now they've relaunched the toy line and made a traditional trading card game where you build decks and it's like a 45 card deck or something. You shuffle
So
up.
do
you
I
have a
roll
hand,
my deck onto
play
the ball now?
You have a bowl of balls
So
that
you're
you
w-
shake
The
up.
way that you engage in combat and play the game and do everything is reliant on you rolling a Bakugan and opening. So you can't like play cards and shit if you don't open your Bakugan. So I spent a lot of time trying
Practicing?
to like I've played the TCG. It's not very good, but at least there's a card game now.
The most hardcore way you could play Bakugan is by loading up your paintball hopper with Bakugans and just going at each other. That's real Bakugan right there.
Do you think they'll open?
Yeah, when they hit you, oh yeah, they're gonna open.
My friend got so mad that his Bakugan wouldn't open. He was just getting slammed every game that he like threw it into a wall and broke it.
It's open.
That's quality
he gotta
Bakugan.
open. Well, he couldn't. That's the thing is like, why would you make a TCG that's with this marble toy that has to open up? Like, who thought this would be a competitive TCG experience?
I think if you give a child something ball shaped, it's getting thrown. It is getting
For
thrown at
sure.
other children.
I mean, have
and
you
that's
seen-
a quality game to me. That's good stuff.
Have you seen in the show, like in the game you're supposed to roll it on a table. In the show they're whipping it across.
Yeah,
and
They're
getting
like, they're throwing them like Pokeballs.
they throw them like Pokeball. Yeah, exactly.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can
You
dodge
dodge
a
a ball.
Bakugan. A Bakugan.
Yeah, the original ball.
The original ball.
What cavemen used to roll.
Bakugan evolved into balls.
But I will say, even though I don't think the new card game is good as a card game, I think it's great innovation on what they originally had. And the toys have only gotten cooler with more engineering practices involved.
I think a lot of companies have done that though. Like even looking at Digimon, right? Like this is their third time around.
making
Yeah.
a card. This is our fourth.
Or
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Digimon Fusion had its own card game.
I don't even know Digimon. Oh, that's Shellmon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Digimon Fusion had its own card game.
Was it any good?
Okay, around a year before I started getting into the Digimon card game, I've always been a Digimon fan, and I was looking up Digimon on the Wikipedia, and I found out that Shoutmon fused with every Digimon in the world.
Yeah.
And that's when I said, I hate Digimon for the first time. And the second time was when I sat down across from Melga.
Welcome to the Errata Sonata podcast. I'm Ian.
I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Noah. It's just something about the way you say it.
What brings it down so much?
There's something in your tone where the welcome to the Errata Sonata, there's like a disconnect there. Try and flow it.
Welcome to
Jeremiah.
The Errata
Lay down a beat for him.
Sonata. Drop a beat.
Drop a beat!
I'm not doing that.
Please.
I'll roll a Bakugan.
I'll drop a beat for you.
I like that Noah has established that he wants to do everything to make the audio unlistenable. He said this podcast is too easy to listen to.
Fine. Boots and cats and boots and cats and
So we're coming back from a brief hiatus for the Happy Honda Days for what are we calling it? Merry Guru Xmas.
What are you saying when you say happy,
Honda Days,
like Honda, like the car?
like the Honda Odyssey. Yeah.
Okay.
Yo, you guys
Honda
don't
Odyssey, not Civic?
No,
Why would
I-
Odyssey be your
you
real
don't celebrate Happy Honda Days every season?
No, I heard you say that earlier, and I was trying to figure it out because it was like,
I was trying to find one of those big bows, that they put on cars.
yeah.
Because what I was gonna do is I was gonna get one of those big bows, and I was gonna put it on the bed and be like, Julia, you can stay here when I move out next week.
See, I was expecting, because me and Ian, for the viewers that don't know, the reason I wasn't here last week was me and Ian got into a huge fight.
We've been fighting since.
And Jeremiah too, as well. I was expecting a new car when I showed up, as like reparations.
Reparations.
No, reparations.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what I got? Nothing. I got an hour of HR.
You know what you got is a new ban list provided by Bandai, and you should be grateful for it.
And I got to spend 5 hours today arguing and just mulling over how much I hate my community. That's not true. Redacted.
Redacted. We all got to experience the best and worst of mankind this holiday season. Truly, infinite combos,
Good for the game.
good for the game.
As long as it's not, again, if I'm not sitting down and saying loop and that's the infinite combo, I'm okay with it. You know?
Demonstrate and move on.
Yeah. Like, I think that this combo requires you to play it out all the way through.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, it's unlikely that you're getting this turn 1 or turn 2 or turn 3.
And for the sake of our listeners, I'll mention that if you are curious about what we're talking about, you can go look up the new ban list by Bandai, only released in Japan right now, for Kai and Sayo.
I just looked it up and now I already forget.
But the Light Fang Nightclaw Tamer,
It's Sayo and Co.
Sayo and Co. When used in combination with either Keenan Crier, Matt Ishida from the starter deck, or the promo Zubamon.
To be fair, with the mat, you'll need to play something like Labramon.
Yeah, exactly. So there's very few cards that work with it.
Can I briefly talk on this matter? Because I was gonna ask you guys what the topic of the day was. Like,
Yeah.
some Blue's Clues style. Like, tell me what my lesson is for the day.
What are you gonna learn about on this big world of card games?
But I do want to touch on a common parlance phrase called doom posting.
Doom posting. I love it. I love it. You mean what happens every time we go into the Digimon Hamilton Discord?
Exactly. And I think a big problem is people watch videos of Japanese players. Mm-hmm. And most recently, I watched a video of the same day that this list dropped. Somebody dropped a video of the loop going on. And at the end of their loop, they used both hands and turned all cards sideways, like they're playing Magic the Gathering, declaring all their attacks.
I go to combat.
And I hate that they did that because that is like the epitome of doom. That's saying like nothing in your security can stop me. Yeah. That's saying that this combo, it's not directly saying it, but it's giving off that message that this is an unstoppable, ridiculous combo.
Unwinnable game state, and the reality is that Digimon is yet to have a combo like that, except for the one that we failed to ban, which is We Have to Stop Fighting and Blackboard Greymon.
Well, that's why I think it's really interesting that they chose, let's choice restrict this infinite.
And I think it's unfortunately that we're just seeing Bandai starting to come down, the strong arm of the law, and say that they don't want combos in their game, and maybe that'll just be the future.
If they don't want combos in the game, again, this is another thing I've talked about where Bandai needs to be clear with their design goals and their design philosophy.
Give us some patch notes?
Because patch notes, but just something to say, this is an unfun way to play the game, and we are not fans of it. Therefore, we're going to choice restrict cards rather than ban these cards. You can still play with them, you just can't use them in this way because it goes against what we think is good for Digimon.
You know what my favorite thing is? When someone tells me what fun is to me. I love that. When I'm sitting in class and the teacher's like, this is fun. I'm like, don't tell me what's fun. I'll tell you what's fun.
Me gusta.
but I think if these precedents were set early on or they were clearly stated by Bandai, it wouldn't be so jarring.
And then we wouldn't be fighting in the Discord about what we think the future of the game should be, because we'd have it more clearly stated what they intend it to be, and we'd be going in with the right expectations.
We have to stop fighting.
We have to stop fighting.
And that card should be gone too. That choice restrict those ones.
We're definitely trying to read between the lines here, because it's clear that Bandai is making design decisions, and it's clear that they want to move towards a more tribal archetype-based game.
Even though they've just banned 4 Gabumon cards in a row.
Well, their issue was that you were using them in non-Gabumon decks.
Yeah.
And so even though they haven't come out and say that, it's hard not to feel like we're getting that message from them.
Yeah.
Especially based on the cards that they've been printing, right?
But that's why it's confusing.
Right, and it's a big issue that Jeremiah has right now because the Pulsemon cards, the new Pulsemon cards, they say play this card in a Pulsemon deck or don't play the card at all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not exactly true.
I mean, it's funny because we're saying all this. Light Fang and Nightclaw was the most tribal package I could imagine, and yet it is now part of a non-tribal loop deck.
So it's so much cooler this way.
It's so much cooler than that boring deck.
It's choice restricted.
They took 2. Okay, first of all, I love Dawn and Dusk, but I don't care about Grace Novamon. They took 2 decks that I cared nothing about: Grace Novamon and Ragnalordmon. I don't care about either of those. And they made one of the most interesting decks I've ever seen in Digimon to me. Other than the other... I love loops.
Yeah.
The other loop deck was so cool to me too. I think niche decks are so interesting, but it does feel like the Digimon community would rather have a deck like Galactimon, where Bandai has clearly supported it, and it's not great, but it's like niche and funny, than an innovated niche and funny deck.
Yeah, because the reality is that I think people want to feel like cards are being used as intended, as the good Lord intended. And the reality is that's often boring. I think the most interesting decks come from innovative uses. I know you and I have been talking a little bit about putting a Spadamon in with Anubismon in order to get a D-Digivolve when you play out Mervamon, which is it's a cool combo. And I think that allowing space in card games for innovative card choice is what keeps the game fresh. You know what the worst experience I ever had at a tournament was? One of my first tournaments I went to. I was playing Chaos Gallantmon, and my opponent sitting across from me said, "Oh, I've seen this deck list. You don't have another Hell's Gate in your deck," because he'd already seen 2. And I said, "I'm furious. The idea that you're so confident about the game that the moment you've seen a second copy of this card, you think there's no more thought to be had. There's no possible way there's a third copy of this card in the deck, and that is the worst way a card game can exist, where it gets to such a static point where that's true."
No, but that's quality right there. That's comedy gold. When that person in the video turned all his cards sideways, I prayed so much that first card flipped was just Crimson Blaze. And then you just call a judge over because they swung all their cards. You know, like I live for those moments where someone says, "This is a guarantee." And guess what?
You're
It's
wrong.
not.
Yeah,
It's
you're
not a
wrong.
guarantee.
I think we've all come to the point that saying we're fine with this loop being in the game because it's intuitive. It's interesting that they've created something like this, that players have found this.
That we want to exist.
It's being uncovered, right? It's being found.
Yeah.
Rather than Bandai being like, "Here you go. You can do an infinite loop with these cards. Look, they all say the same title on them.
Yeah,
You
I
can
don't-
put them all together."
Oh, wow, I can't believe I'm running 4 Garurumon cards on top of each other, and it allows me to unsuspend.
Guys,
That's wild.
I have this really cool combo. By returning a Marcus to hand, I go into burst mode for free and I play a Marcus.
That's wild. I just got a Marcus in my hand.
How cool is that? Like, what a great combo that I
Like,
came up with.
But like I'm saying, we all seem okay with the fact that infinite loop is
Because
there.
games have loops. Because Magic has combo, it has aggro, and it has control, and they create a very interesting dynamic game space.
But are you guys against choice restriction as a means of balance?
No. I think that if 2 otherwise good, interesting decks exist that are not overpowered independently, I would rather choice restrict those cards rather than ban one of the 2 cards that's, crossing over the stream
Yeah.
to the other deck.
I don't know where I stand on it. I think, like I said, for my stance with this deck is this was better than limiting any of these cards, but worse than no limits. I think choice restrictions, the only con that I see at the moment is that it does make a more confusing list to follow than just simply saying this is at 1. Because now, not only do you have to know that this card is on the limited list, you now have to keep track of what other cards are in conjunction with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I
It's
think
definitely more complicated.
Yeah.
right. I think that's my only big issue with it. But it's not really a big issue. Like I'm so torn right now because it feels like Bandai's doing like a great job, but also a weird job with these ban lists and restrictions.
Because you loved Garurumon X being hit, but you hated Bukamon being hit.
Yeah, but not even just that, because like the Gabumon situation too.
Yeah, we are down two unjustly crucified Gabumons.
It feels like Bandai went in and they're like, okay, we need to limit this, and then they're like, this wasn't enough, and they're like, you know what, we're on a roll. What else can we hit? And I just want to see some stuff that I actually want to see get hit.
Yeah.
Get hit. You know.
Well, it's interesting because I for a long time I felt like I was saying I want to ban way more cards than we've been banning. Like if they told me like, listen, we're coming in guns blazing, we're banning 4 cards a month, and we're gonna keep firing, I'd be like, you know what? I don't hate it. I don't hate like a willingness to ban that much.
Yeah.
Because I think that you can like sort of create a good game state and a balanced game system by doing that. Obviously, you don't. It's not a quota that you have to hit.
I'm gonna say it. Let's get rid of X Antibody, the card,
And the other one that says X Antibody.
and the new one.
Yeah, honestly, from the day X Antibody as a card came out, it probably should have been banned. It is not a good card to exist in the game system. All of the decks that have X Antibody as a condition are more interesting if you have to go off of the card that is not X Antibody in sources. So Saber Leomon on X on top of Saber Leomon is way more interesting than going straight into Saber Leomon X with X Antibody under.
And as a quick aside, man, does it bother me when the cards have, instead of that X Antibody option, they have a Sistermon in play or have a Blue Tamer in play. Like, that is free. That is saying you don't need the level 6 and you don't need the X Antibody option, because these decks do that anyway. Like Ulforce X and Jesmon X, and there's another one I can't remember now, but the moral of the story is, man, I hate X Antibodies.
Well, so Jeremiah, like in Vanguard, did you have like this issue with like choice restriction? Like, were any cool decks unjustly punished before choice restriction came into play?
I can't specifically remember. Oh, there was one that could get like infinite attacks off, basically.
Okay.
But again, that's another infinite. That like Vanguard from a long time has talked about. Bushiroad has gone and said, I don't want infinites in Vanguard, so
Yeah.
we're going to hit those. And that's like when they choice restrict something, you're like, they killed the thing, because people were playing this weird setup of 2 grade 0 cards, and normally you don't want to play grade 0s in your main deck. They're really bricky, and they're generally pretty weak. But this served like an almost infinite combo, and then they hit them, and it was like, I get it, you know.
Yeah.
But you didn't like ban the cards; you just stopped that interaction.
Yeah.
I'm currently dealing with a choice restriction that I wasn't aware of when I was building my deck, but am now currently aware of.
Within Modern Vanguard?
Yes, that has to do with a balance issue.
Okay.
And it's literally just to like tap the deck on the, you know, kind of in the ass, just like hit it, like
It's not a huge change, but it is like.
But it kind of, the interesting part is that it kind of spawned 2 versions of the deck, where like
One where you went with one of the choice restricted cards, and
Yeah.
one where you went with the other.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah.
actually interesting.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, because this is around Narukami again.
Oh, you love these guys.
I've never heard a word as much as this.
Vanguard Gallenmon.
So there's a card in the early game that essentially says when this attack connects, you draw a card. It's just really good because your opponent's either discarding a card
Yeah.
to stop the attack, or
That's a
you're-
new Koromon.
or
Yeah, it's
you're,
Koromon.
or you're hitting and drawing a card.
Yeah.
So either way, it's just a positive thing to just slap on the board, and it makes your early game really good. But then they have a boss monster that later in the game is just crazy. Just spawns you a bunch of extra cards and gives you a bunch of extra attacks. And they're like, these 2 cards together are too good. We're gonna make it so you can't run Demolition Dragon with Sweep Command Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if you're playing Sweep Command, you're still playing the
You're
premium.
getting that
Narukami.
early game card draw.
That's Demolition.
So Demolition gives you the early game card draw, or you get the boss monster, which is like a win con.
Yeah, he's like really good. He sets up a lot of stuff for you, and just like prints a lot of value. So it's like, if you want that later game value, you go with the Sweep Command route. But if you want the early game oppression, then you go with Demolition Dragon. And both are topping,
Yeah.
and they're still the same deck. It's still the same identity, but there are 2 versions to play, which I think it's only applicable with choice restriction as a means of balance. Which I like that.
I think
that's
I think it's a neat way to be. I actually think that I think that's an interesting dynamic to have created with your cards. But the main issue is that that's not what we're seeing in Digimon.
No.
We're definitely seeing like a new deck that existed is now no longer existing.
No, and this is why I'm saying that I like choice restriction as a means of balance. I don't like that they're hitting innovative deck ideas.
I don't want to be edgy. I don't want to go against the flow.
All
I don't,
right, he's about to say society.
He's about to say something.
I don't care if I do, but I don't actively go out of my way to do this. But man, it frustrates me because I feel like I'm the edgy person playing Digimon. Like, I don't disagree with any of the greater good of the community or the developers. And when the majority of the community agrees with the developers, I'm angry. I'm upset. So I'm like, the developers are wrong, and you're wrong, and I'm the edgy one. And that makes me even more mad because I don't want to be that person. But man, it feels like so often, it feels like that's where we're at, where a majority of the community agrees with what they're doing, and I don't think they made the right choice.
No, I think that people are scared of boogeymen sometimes. I think that they see the possibility of, you know, going infinite, and they say this is a bad possibility, a bad potential. Can I come out? You know about this a little bit, Noah, but I want to talk about something Digimon adjacent for a second, because you guys know I play fighting games. And you guys know I used to play competitive Smash.
Is this Digimon Rumble Arena?
Digimon Rumble, actually, but that also has infinites. But if anyone is interested in Digimon Rumble Arena 2, start using your down air into Gatomon Sleep move, and that's actually an infinite.
Okay.
You'll find the frame data available on Mizumi, and it was made by your local podcast host.
No way. That's so
Yeah,
good.
it took a long time.
That's great.
What's Mizumi?
Mizumi, it's like Dust. Do you know Dust Loop?
No.
Okay,
It's just interesting because recently
it's a fighting game wiki that's used for multiple services.
there's a store called Mizumi that I use at work for machine parts.
Yeah, what's the frame data?
I don't know.
How much damage do they do?
I'm just wondering what's gonna come up when you send all these people to look up Mizumi, and they're just gonna be ordering pneumatic parts.
How fast does Modokimon go?
Okay, so what I was gonna say is that from fighting games, like the reality is a ton of games have infinites, and there's no issue with them. The main infinite that I've actually seen banned was from my time in Smash, which is relatively recently. Wobbling has been banned.
Well, it's been on and off.
It's been on and off, that's true. But currently, wobbling is banned in Smash.
What is wobbling?
Wobbling is when the ice climbers in Melee will grab you. Popo will grab you, and then Nana starts smacking you with her hammer periodically in time in a way that you are just going to be stuck in it from the moment you're grabbed until the moment you die.
What is it, like 155 BPM or something?
It's somewhere around there. But a lot of people just like...
Specific timing.
They go to the beat of staying alive,
Yeah.
and then they just like keep hitting the A button in that pattern.
That's the way that you perform CPR?
You know what? It might be CPR. I'm thinking it might be a different song. But the point is that it is a static pattern, and it's pretty easy to do.
It's easy to maintain once you've got it, but I really believe that setting up the grab isn't that easy.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say, because the truth of the matter is, in Melee and in Project M, we have other infinites with ice climbers that are still allowed. But the issue with wobbling is that it's quote unquote too easy. Handoffs is another infinite that ice climbers have. There's and the Project M has a ton more, but like handoffs are in Melee and Project M, and those aren't banned because they're considered less easy. And I think that ease of execution is like so frequently considered the be all end all when it comes to infinite, because most fighting games don't care about it. Smash does because it's quote unquote too easy.
By that logic, should fight boxes be legal?
Why are you trying to come at me?
Should fight boxes be banned as well for ease of execution?
That's a bigger question. That's a question that like nobody in our audience, our very niche audience of 4 people, is not going to care about. I use both Smash boxes and fight boxes because as we recall, I'm Diaboromon, so my massive claws don't work well with a fight stick or with a pad. So an answer to that question is I don't think they should be banned because they are just keyboards but with nicer buttons.
Yeah, but should keyboards be legal?
Well, by that argument, pads shouldn't be legal. What should call controllers for the common audience. Controllers should not be legal because they allow you to do everything that you are able to do on a keyboard, but with a quote-unquote more convenient layout.
Well, okay, this gets more into like the spirit of the game or whatever, but I know that there was a patch, I think it was like called CFM or something,
Okay.
that made, because there's a big issue with Nintendo quality control.
Yeah.
They made all the controllers kind of the same. Because,
Within Ultimate, you're saying?
no, it was set up for Melee even.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and this patch was out and you could run it.
Oh, you're talking about UCF.
UCF, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And I think that should be the go-to instead of Smash boxes, and I think you should just have to use a standard GameCube controller.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is that Nintendo also came in and they were actually shutting down tournaments because they were using UCF.
I know, but that's so crazy to me because it's like Nintendo doesn't even have their hand on Melee tournaments anymore.
No. They'd rather they didn't exist.
Exactly. So why are we bowing down to Big Daddy Nintendo? And while we're on the
Big Daddy Bandai?
Big Daddy Bandai, let's take them down. Yeah, but I am, from my years of experience, from this past week where I watched a video essay on Smash Boxes, I'm anti-Smash-Box now.
You're next to one.
I know.
It's so funny. I often use the physical space we're in. I realized it in the last recording. I often will say, we're within 5 feet of this thing.
Yeah.
And that's just because I live within a very small space. As we've mentioned, I live in a small house.
Well, I helped you, like we were on Discord together designing the art on your Smash Box.
Yes.
And the whole time, I wasn't aware of the evil that you were holding.
You're not fit to be a gamer.
Yeah. But that's just a question on ease of accessibility means something should be banned. And
within fighting games, it's more of a conversation because the reality is if you mess up your combo in a card game, you didn't know your combo. If you mess it up in a fighting game, well, execution tests are a part of the game.
Yeah.
By the way, we've been dancing around combo this entire time without mentioning Yu-Gi-Oh! Which the only way to play the game is combo.
Yeah.
Every single deck is a combo deck.
Well, the reason I think that we dance around that is because then we have to get into the fact that, hey, I don't have instant speed interactions in Digimon, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Does have that.
Hand traps, and then Magic has counters. Like both those games have infinite with some level of interaction to stop it while it's happening.
Which is why I think it's okay that Bandai looks at Infinites and says, like,
Sinful.
we should probably not have this in Digimon because your opponent doesn't get a say. I mean, it's the same reason why we get frustrated with BT9.
Yeah, OTK and Infinites are the same thing. Like, I think we can accept that.
Right.
Something that kills you on the spot that you have no way of dealing with.
Yeah.
But we already mentioned you outplay the setup, not the result, because you have no way of dealing with the result. I mean, you have counter timing now, but you outplay the setup. On the way there, you have turns to stop it. We're not getting first turn killed here.
Yeah, most aggro decks are swinging under combo decks.
No, and I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh is like so fast to the point where like you literally, if you pass a turn without interaction, like, congratulations, you've lost.
Wait, hold on, it's turn 2? I guess I'm gonna go for my win.
Literally, like every deck, if your deck can't set up a board of negates going first to make your opponent not be able to play the game and then win the game on the next turn by just shoving in enough damage, your deck's not good. If you don't have an OTK and a combo to stop your opponent from playing the game,
They're FTK, yeah.
then or an FTK, which you literally just kill your opponent
First turn kill.
which is that is more akin to like almost an infinite loop, right?
Yeah.
This kind of stuff is like very toxic.
When
Right?
it comes to first turn kill, do you only count the very first turn of the game, or if it was my first turn in Digimon and I killed you, would you count that as a first turn kill?
I would, yes.
Because we have that in the game.
Yes.
We do, very nichely, but like within Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like decks can be built around semi-consistently hitting an FTK.
Literally on the first turn. Yes, you are done.
I know a majority of our listeners are the people that we're sitting here roasting.
Yeah.
But it's okay because they'll talk to us in the Discord.
What's up, Mark?
But I think we should start a series on stuff that we've argued with the community about. It just because there's multiple. We'll go over pile shuffling. We'll go over, is it better to lose in 2 turns or lose in 10 turns?
What a way to celebrate a happy Guru year.
Now, hold on. Can I enhance on that for a second? Because I was thinking about this in the car. My whole life was flashing by my face. I was like,
By your face, before your eyes.
He couldn't find his eyes. They were lost.
Yeah.
They were
That's because they
flashed
they
before
limited
my eyes.
eyes, man.
Yeah.
I was just getting so introspective. I was thinking, man, my TCG journey started by Bakugan. But I was thinking, like, I don't have a lot of time right now to put into card games.
Yeah.
And there's so many games I want to play. I don't like being limited to one system. I like to try out a lot of stuff.
You don't have time for Nova Flame. You're going Nova Scotia.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know if I'm going to Nova Scotia. But I don't have a lot of time for a bunch of card games. And I'm like, is going to a local tournament for 3 or 4 hours, is that too much? And then it makes you think about Japan, where they have best of one, and a lot of it could be said just to like save some time. You could potentially, assuming the games go fast enough, play 2 locals in one night.
Sure.
What do you think about that?
But is your measurement of a successful night how many locals you competed in, or how much time you
I've got good news for you. If you go to a 2-man local, you can maximize your number of locals in a night.
Right. It's to me, I look at the time spent playing the game that I love playing.
But the thing
That's
is,
why we
like,
go to time.
If you play multiple tournaments, like if you still fill that time slot up of 4 hours a night, but you just play more games of Digimon, is that
Do you not
better or
understand
worse?
that in a best of 3 format, you're playing the same number of... Like, you're suggesting that, like, you're going to get in twice the number of games, but because you went to 2 locals, but you're playing 2 to 3 games each round in a best 2 of 3.
I guess so. I guess I had a brief thought while I was thinking about how all this Bakugan.
You know what would make it feel better? Is side decks, so that way game 2 and game 3 felt like unique games.
No, get game 2 and 3 out of here.
Over the
We just want
holidays, I was at my cousin's house with the family.
Yeah.
And my cousin is very good at chess, and I am a Jeremiah at chess.
one. Hey,
You put 4 hours into it a week, but you still don't know how to play?
Exactly. And so
that hurts.
I sat across from this guy's older brother, my other cousin, and said, let's play speed chess. 10 seconds, and we just start moving, right?
Yeah.
And my other cousin, who's good at chess, was sitting there just weeping at the plays we were making.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then he sat down across from me and said, let's play. And I said, no. And he said, come on. And I was like, I don't want to play against you. It's just going to be a slaughter. Like, I might as well blindly move these pieces. He said, I'll get rid of my queen. And I still said no. But he talked me into it, and we're playing. And it was actually kind of close. But it got me thinking. First of all, it was a lot of fun.
Did you
because
win?
No, but it was really close.
You're very invested in who won these hypothetical matches and stories.
It was very close, but obviously he didn't have his queen. But it really leveled the playing field because obviously you only have 10 seconds, so he couldn't do his openings and yada yada yada. I was thinking, I want to play Speed Digimon.
Speed Digimon actually is an interesting
Like
idea.
10 seconds to like
You guys
play a
want
card
chess
or
timers?
attack.
You guys want chess timers?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Nolan and JB brought up something.
I mean-
We've talked about chess timers. It's
Well, we talked about chess clocks for determining timeouts specifically because we have had throughout our time in Digimon many frustrations with being timed out, and specifically
you've had the most.
no, but specifically because when I'm playing SecCon, I'm playing for less than a third of the game, and yet they're accusing me of stalling.
Yeah. Yes.
every single SecCon player says this, and they sit there with their Salamon and raising, thinking, do I raise up? I'm at 3 security. Maybe I don't want to raise up, and I sit there for 5 minutes like. Every SecCon player says I play 1 card a turn and pass, but you play 1 card a turn over 10 minutes.
Why didn't you just leave me at 4 security?
I hate you. I actually don't hate SecCon players.
Yeah, it's cool deck.
I am a SecCon supporter, even though I was saying this to you the other day. Every single time I go to pick a deck, I say, how does this do against security control? Because if it doesn't do well, I don't want to play it.
Well, this leads into, I think, an interesting part of the conversation where combo can feel unfun because you have lost the game in an instant. You took all of your hope and it's gone.
Well, actually, yes, but I do want to add the complaint that we are receiving specifically is not that you end the game in an instant. It's that you end the game and then you don't play for 10 turns while you're in an unwinnable game state because they're looping, turn after turn.
Okay, but what about control deck that just drags the game on and you feel helpless in both scenarios? One is over in an instant, one is over in a little bit longer period of time, but you still have an opportunity to
I
win.
think, unfortunately, people feel a lot better in the Digimon community about the game being over in an instant. Most people are like, I would rather get Fenrir'd on turn 3 and just die than play against SecCon until turn 20.
Which is why, back in VT9, I'm complaining my heart out, and I'm saying, bring back Blue Hybrid. Those were the glory days.
Yeah.
And people were saying, no, that was so much worse than this because it was slower and I couldn't do anything. But you had time. Like, sure, your Digimon were stunned, and don't get me wrong, Blue Hybrid, very strong deck. But instead of giving you time to counterplay, you'd rather just lose.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that mindset.
I do think the biggest thing is that, like, SecCon's not a good control deck.
Interesting. What do you mean?
Well, in the case of most control decks in card games, like, SecCon's game plan is not very good. It goes, I'm going to recover life and hope to God that I have a removal spell in my security stack.
Okay, wait, hear me out.
Like,
If you were playing Magic and you were told, hey, when somebody attacks you, you get to play a high-cost spell for free. You're
but
telling
you
me
don't
that's
get
not...
to choose- you don't
no,
get
you
to
don't get to
choose that.
choose. But, okay, you have a random assortment of cards. And when somebody attacks you in Magic, you get to play a random card. And a large majority of your deck are high-cost spells. You're telling me that wouldn't be good?
I think you would have to... You'd have to change a lot about the game's dynamic to make that, like, a direct parallel. I just think in context of a lot of the control decks that I've played over the many different card games that I've played, SecCon feels the one that's most vulnerable in comparison to a lot of other decks, which feel very concrete. They feel very tight in what they want to do.
Yeah.
And SecCon is a very strange one because of Digimon being a very different card game.
Which is why it's existed in so many different variants
Yes.
over time.
And the other thing is, like, a lot of combo decks and control decks share similar design space, right? Like, you're trying to stall the game out until you've reached a winning board state that your opponent can't recover from. Yeah. You can do that via stalling your opponent out for a long time, or you can just, like, combo them out once you have all your pieces.
I think this might be a reflection of... although, I want to say this is a reflection of you not being up to date on the current meta. Sure. But Ian, I think, disagrees with me a little bit on this. But I think security control is in a very good spot right now. And I think that it's had ebbs and flows, but I think security control is a powerful control deck. And I think that right now, in a world where Digimon is continuously moving towards stack decks where they do all their damage with a single guy, security control is in the most powerful position it's been in a long time. Because you're taking out... Obviously, like you said, you have to pray for a bomb in security. But you're taking out Mirage Galgamon and Fenrir Lugamon, or Mervamon taking away Rush from the other Digimon. Melga. Like, you're taking out a lot of decks that don't have protection. I'm not going to comment on red and black decks. But I think it's in a decent spot. The problem is when you get other decks that kind of balance it out, which I don't I don't think that's a problem. I think it's good to have decks that recur, or even like mill, that make security control bad.
Well, and I think that dynamic is great, but for BT, like I played BT16 security control, and it did feel very susceptible to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that in the context of like Digimon, because my cards are so high costed, which in other card games is not as much of an issue because I just need to be at high mana count and then I can play them. In Digimon, I'm playing them for a high mana value, but I'm also setting you to such a high mana value that like you get so much, like so many actions per turn that I'm only doing one, and it's rewarding you in a lot of scenarios.
Here's what I'll say. When I look at control in Magic, because I'll compare it to that, a lot of what control is trying to do is say, I'm going to use a card in my hand to either remove a card from your hand or a card from your field. So I'm going 1 for 1. If I can go 2 for 1, I'm even happier.
Yeah.
But obviously, 1 for 1 is at least saying, hey, I'm stopping your board state before anything else. In Digimon, breeding exists.
Yeah.
There's an area that you can put your cards that I cannot touch. So, in order for that game state to exist, I need to have an area that spells can trigger for no cost, which is my security.
Yeah.
So it's like you saying like I'm banking on my security having all my good effects. It's like, yeah, because breeding exists. Because I don't get to just say, I'm going to spend every turn clearing every card you put on the board. I have to say, at the end of the day, Fenrir Lugomon is going to come out of your breeding and come in on me, and you're going to hit me and hit me for what? 5 checks?
6.
And 6 checks, and you're going to have 4 bodies on field, assuming my security is empty.
Well, I think that's the other thing about SecCon right now is obviously Mirage and Fenrir can clear a good amount of security, but security control can go above the threshold that you start at, which allows it to kind of shut down certain combos because suddenly they can't make it through all your security in that one turn. And if they somehow dodge all these kill spells and security, you have the opportunity to react, which their whole game plan is saying, I don't want you to be able to react. I want to kill you in one turn. And I think it's the same thing with this mill deck. Not mill, this loop deck. Like against security control, you hit like a Schwarz Lair Schatz or a Crimson Blaze, and then what?
It's over. Yeah, no, you have to rely. The reality is control has to rely on security.
You spend your 20 turns looping, building up to Galactamon. And then you just keep looping turns, and at the start of every one of your turns, you trash their top security. That's the real play.
I mean, you guys know I love security control. I'll always go to bat for security control. I just think that, like, in the grand scheme of things, this control versus combo versus infinite loop dynamic, I feel like the infinite loops are the ones that, like, people are scared of because they're just winning out of nowhere, but people are mad about security control not having like a game plan that's going to immediately kill you, but just taking a long time to do it. And it's like, those are two sides of like the same coin, but people look at them
vastly different.
I think the reality is that anybody that's playing a deck that I don't like, I'm mad about. And if they're playing my deck, I'm also mad about that. Like that is
I'm playing my deck.
That is the card game player experience.
No, wait, I love security control mirrors.
that is like,
no, wait, that's fun.
People who play Digimon say, would you please, sir, just sit down across from me and concede? I don't actually want to play against your deck.
Yeah.
I just want to win.
Yeah.
And so I'm mad about stun, and I'm mad about mill, and I'm mad about control. And I just want to win, and I want to do it with the deck that I want, and that's that. So Bandai, please make that happen. And I think that's such a lame way to look at the game.
Yeah.
Because I've had games where I'm like, oh man, more than anything, do I want to win this game? Like, end rounds of a tournament, maybe it's the last round, and I'm like, man, I need to win this to get top 8. And I want to win so badly. But you know what I don't want? I don't want to sit across from somebody who bricks turn after turn and then I just get a free win. Like, what was the point of that?
Yeah.
What a lame conclusion. It definitely sours the victory.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about a lot of like hits to decks.
Yeah.
Now, that I think were unwarranted or unjust.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of hits that I want to see and some of them I don't want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And so it bums me out because I feel like a lot of card game players don't feel that same way, where they don't want to go in like, not that I'm like, oh yeah, let's have a great battle, guys.
And wait, what do they say?
Digital Gate Open.
Digital Gate Open.
Yeah, I'm not like that, but I do want to have fun playing the game, and I personally don't have fun playing the game if like I'm not.
If you're having fun.
Yeah, exactly. I want you to not have fun, but I want you to not have fun because of what I'm doing, not because of what your deck's doing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's why you hate instant speed.
That's why I hate Instant Speed.
You guys should play Yu-Gi-Oh.
All right, I think we've done a lot of ringing in the Guru near with Infinite Loop.
Before we end on the
Before we
digital,
end?
I did want to touch on. We haven't talked about the Ultimate Cups.
Oh, sure.
And
Yeah.
time is slipping by.
Fine. Let's have a brief check-in. So they're doing Singleton.
No. That's not what I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about the block format Ultimate Cups that we passed by. We played. And the very first one was won by, and I'm eating my words here, and I'm so proud. Blue won, and I said, no chance Blue wins.
Oh yeah, that's right from the original
From
episode.
episode
Yeah.
0.
And not only
True fans will remember.
Not only did Blue win, we had in my opinion, one of the funniest tournaments ever. It ended after 5 rounds because tables 2 and 3 were both undefeated and they both tied. And do I think Blue deserved to win? Probably not. This deck was whack, but it did win. And I think the next one was Diarbitmon, which was again out of left field. Did any of us even mention Diarbitmon?
No,
I did. I did a lot.
you do love Diarbitmon, and I was not a believer.
Goron and Diarbitmon.
And then DigiPolice, which we did talk about.
Yeah.
We did talk about the DigiPolice, and that was Martin. That was Kiki. And
Delivery service.
yeah, he puts in work. It was a funny series of tournaments. I had a lot of fun. Do I think it was a good idea for a competitive set? No. Do I feel like I came 5th place in one of the tournaments?
Okay.
And I really wanted that Gallantmon, and I got that Gallantmon. Do I feel like I earned that Gallantmon? Not entirely. It was a surreal experience, but I will say, ton of fun. I really like what Bandai did with that.
Yeah.
And they're talking about Singleton.
Yeah, so that's what's coming up next at Singleton. I was actually going to say,
Well,
I've...
It's not coming up next. It's Tamer Parties out in Japan.
Sure, whatever. It's coming up soon, but I want to say that because I've been playing a lot of Chosen One format, which I talked about last week with Julian, and then after we had our little chat about it, I've been playing a lot of it. And I gotta say, I still don't love Singleton and Digimon, but Chosen One does kind of open up the door a bit. Adding a little bit of consistency to Singleton, I think, is a really, really fun game state.
So you
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
your big commander.
Well, so the thing is, yeah, kind of. The thing is, I like the idea of Commander. I just don't like multiplayer formats.
How have you found? I agree with that. How have you found deck building to be? Do you find yourself reaching into a lot of piles that you normally wouldn't touch?
Sometimes. I mean, the thing is that you'll find niche cards that are useful, but at the end of the day, I'm building purple. I want to put a Mervamon in there. I want to put an Anubismon in there.
Didn't you help pioneer 2v2 multiplayer Digimon?
Yeah, okay, yes. I have played a lot of multiplayer Digimon, but the thing is, even most of the time I was playing it, we were playing teams, not free-for-all. I think there's a pretty big difference between those two.
Okay, I was just confused because you were like, I don't like multiplayer. But man, do I love playing multiplayer.
No, but I really want to get both of you on to try Chosen One with me because
Good luck.
there's
Dude, I'm always around. You just prefer Julian
I do prefer Julian.
because it's free wins.
Yeah, because he plays Magic.
I'm not around.
Yeah.
He's busy.
You can play Marcus. You can have Marcus in every opening hand of the game.
Yeah, isn't that what you always wanted?
I like TK a lot better.
Interesting.
I like.
I do like searching my security.
resolving TK on turn 1 is like
I played
such
yellow.
a tick for me.
I played yellow in the first Ultimate Cup, like vaccine stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I miss playing TKs. That's some good stuff.
Yeah, Julian was expressing that where he's like, I go into Patamon on turn 1 and then drop TK. So by the end of turn 1, I've seen 11 cards.
That's amazing.
Also, I wanna lay out some experiences here.
Okay.
From that first, I was rocking Digimon Emperor, like I said I would, and that got some people off guard, and it was really funny because unfortunately, didn't find a lot of rookies, which soured the experience for me. But it would be like he would play a rookie in the back and a TK and put me to 2. So I played Digimon Emperor and put him to 1. So he can't raise up Patamon and get the start of main. So he plays Memory Setter TK. So then I play another 2 Digimon
second one,
Emperors. Yeah. And I'm like, now you're still not getting that. And then eventually he just has to raise it up and not get the starter mate. And if I had a rookie, maybe I could have answered it. But unfortunately, I was breaking pretty hard.
Yeah.
But
I mean, your opening hand had 3 Digimon Emperors.
there was another game where I got 3 Digimon Emperors down and hard played a Goldramon, which super cool card because you get it when Digivolving is also on play.
Yeah.
I love cards like that. Put this person in 9, and they still raised up a Patamon, not even the good one. They raised up starter deck Patamon to lose 6 memory. I was like, Digimon Emperor is so funny.
Yeah.
It's such a funny card.
My special little guy. I just wanted him out there. Go for it, Patamon.
Go, Patamon.
And then the next tournament I played Blue Stun. Zudomon, so much fun. Games where you don't see Zudomon, not as much fun.
Not so fun, yeah.
But I tried to keep up with the jank. So I played Fighter Mode from BT12 and Dragon Mode Ace. And then in the last one, I said, screw it. Put Magna Angemon Ace in there. Nobody's going to expect it. I played that card a lot. It's just funny seeing people's reactions.
Yeah,
it
of
was
course.
a fun tournament.
Whenever they're surprised, it helps a lot.
Limited is fun.
Limited is fun, and I think that's what I kind of am expressing, that I missed that about Draft. I think that Draft was limited, and it made a lot of cool
Draft
game
was
states.
so good, man.
Yeah, Draft has always been good. But I think that overall, I just want to sort of have a check-in, because this is the last time our audience, well, I guess for our audience, it'll be the first time they're hearing us of the new year, but for us, it's us ringing out the old year together.
Okay.
So I was going to say, what's the card game future for you going into 2024?
I've been looking at quitting every card game and just
Yeah, I've been hearing.
I just want to play Beyblade.
I've heard
dude.
some rumbling.
I just want to play Beyblade.
I have good news for you. I'm gonna be going to nationals in the new year, and
Yeah.
I know my guy Dan Bang and some other guys are planning on starting up a little Beyblade tournament on the
Ooh, hold up.
side. Yeah, they've been plotting out the rules already because they're saying like no premium stuff.
Is it
just
Singleton?
Like,
Wait, no TT?
yeah, they're saying like it's got to be accessible
Just
for
go
people.
to Walmart and buy Hasbro shit.
Exactly.
Oh!
I'm
Yeah,
dying.
but-
no, man, I just want to play the new Japanese Beyblade.
I used to
They're so
serrate
cool.
the edge of my Beyblade,
You're
the
awful.
metal, so that way it would mess up the other kids' Beyblades.
Yeah,
That's what I do with my sleeves, so that when they go to cut my deck, they paper
cut
cut.
themselves.
Yeah, and then they bleed on my cards. I call a judge over.
Yeah, that's true.
They marked my
your
cards.
Yeah.
No, I just
Put your
been playing-
most expensive
Ooh.
alt arts in there.
Real quick thought that I'm going to put out there. I don't know if you've ever talked on the podcast about curled foils before, Ian.
Yeah, okay. Our Pringles.
But man, you know what's funny? When you go to bottom deck people's cards with Mirage Galgamon Burst Mode, and you see all
You see
those,
the curl?
you're like, that looks like a good card to bottom deck.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So keep your cards straight,
Keep your cards straight.
or I'll bottom deck them.
So if it's not card games, what are you playing in the new year?
Well, I'm still playing a lot of card games, but I'm mostly playing a lot of like roguelike deck builder games. I found a ton on Steam. I've been searching around the archives looking for some good stuff.
Did you hit him with the classic? This is my classic Steam. Is I search up a category and then I search it in reverse price order, so I get all the games that
All
are
the
like
cheapest
10
ones?
cents.
I did find this one game, Ragnarok War of Valhalla, I want to say it is.
Okay.
Either way, it's called Ragnarok. It looks interesting. I picked it up for less than $1.
Mm-hmm.
The art looks really cool in it. The gameplay looks like something I'm willing to try out. I haven't actually opened that one yet. The ones that I have been playing are Arcanium, which I
That's
do
like a
recommend.
Factorio game, right? Or
I've been getting interested in Factorio recently.
yeah,
I really want to try. I'm always interested in automation.
yeah. Automation is a cool like format.
It's not automated. It's
It's a puzzle game though.
No, it's a roguelike hero-based card battle system.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty interesting. I'd say that one. I'm gonna shout a couple out. I'm gonna shout Arcanium out. I'm gonna shout out Quantum Protocol, which is
Okay.
another one. It's pretty anime, but the gameplay is really fun in that you can just pop off like crazy. Slay the Spire is always good.
Yeah.
Monster Train.
Did you
I also
ever
really like.
end up getting into Inscription? Because I've been pushing you.
I
on that.
am playing Inscription.
You love just pushing as many genres into a single game as possible, eh?
Just there's just
You know, if that's how you feel, you should play JRPGs. Because if you like fishing games, you'll love JRPGs.
There's a game, I keep forgetting the name of it. It's called like Island of Moonstone, or maybe it's just Moonstone.
Yeah, it's like
It's-
on Monkey Island.
It's Slay the Spire and Stardew Valley like squashed together, and it looks so funny.
There's this other one actually called Astrea, which is Slay the Spire, but instead of cards, you build dice decks, It's really weird, and the art style is unique, but it's not my favorite. But I would also recommend checking that one out. It's got a lot of good reviews,
Yeah.
and I played the demo a little bit. I've also played like Shogun Showdown, which is like loosely a card game. Another
You really
roguelike.
have been going wide, because I was gonna say,
Yeah.
like, I got excited when you started talking about video games. It's like I can finally talk about my Trails journey, talk
Oh,
about
yeah?
the 500 hours deep I am to the Kiseki series.
There's just like a lot of cool stuff. Another one was Ponbarian, which is like that chess one that I
Yeah,
showed
yeah.
you.
This guy says he has no time, and then he says, "I tried out 50 different video
Well,
games
these,
this week."
these again are games that I've picked up and played within like
20
maybe
minutes.
20 to 30 minutes, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
kind of the sweet spot for me. Anything that I can play for like an hour or less and don't feel bad like walking away from is great.
When the anti-racism bundle came out on Humble Bundle, I got it, and then
for you.
I just you know what, I really saved the world there. But I got it, and then I was like, what became a habit of mine is I made a list of like let's say 200 games I was interested in trying from it,
Yeah.
and every day, it was during COVID, so I was at home. Every day at some point in my work day, 'cause I was working from home and I was a degenerate, I said I'm gonna open up a game and I'm gonna play it until my next meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's great. Like I like this kind of pick up and play experience because card game systems all have intricacies, but at the end of the day, if you understand the concept of like how to play card games, most of them are going to translate.
Jeremiah truly is part of the TikTok generation.
The
You just,
ADHD,
you
like
just want to be fed content.
Yeah.
I do think it's worth it, especially because my interest in these systems. It's great to just like look at stuff and be like, yeah, this is like $5
Yeah,
or less. I'll check it out.
you're learning what other people value,
Yeah.
and you're also just sort of seeing different ways of implementing card game systems, and I think it's great.
There was another one, Faeria.
Okay.
Fae, Ria. That is like Hearthstone mixed with like a Catan,
Okay.
which I have yet to play, but looks really interesting. But yeah, there's like a lot of stuff. I'll
Yeah.
send some stuff your guys.
Yeah,
way if
you
interested.
really turned into the gamer of the podcast.
Yeah.
All right, so you're on that. Noah, are you just on the nationals grind? Is that the plan?
I should be. Instead, I've been staying up till 4 a.m. every day playing Minecraft. Like,
Yeah, this guy's had a week off and then didn't invite either of us to hang
You're
out.
not playing Lego Fortnite?
Yeah, I didn't invite you to hang out. Funny. Also, Lego Fortnite, hilarious. I watched that trailer at work because I didn't believe it, and then when I watched the trailer, I still didn't believe it. I was like, "What is this?
Yeah.
What a funny trailer, and what a great kudos to them."
Good for them for being so quirky.
I tried it out. Combat, pretty clean.
Yeah.
Pretty clean combat system.
It's Fortnite after all.
I played it for like maybe a minute. I went into a cave. It definitely looks interesting. I don't feel like downloading Fortnite on my computer.
You have to get Fortnite to play Lego Fortnite. It's not a separate application.
No, it's in Fortnite. It's like a game mode in Fortnite.
That's a deal breaker.
That's a
Sorry,
killer.
guys.
It's so funny though. It's free to play, and like a big selling point for them was you can port in all your Fortnite skins.
I'd rather download all 500 hentai roguelike deck builder card games on Steam.
Way more than 500.
You
There's so many.
probably downloaded quite a few already.
Yeah, because you just haven't gotten to the content.
Yeah.
Have yet to download any of them, but
This guy goes into
I'd
Steam,
rather do
types
that
in
than play Fortnite.
You know,
card
my-
game, roguelike, hentai, and then he starts downloading games.
My Steam is cursed because I'm nervous. I'm nervous to take away the not safe for work tags because I'm like, what if a good game comes out that happens to have a tag because it has nudity at some point in it? So I was like, okay, so I'm not gonna ban any of them. But I play anime fighting games.
Dude, oh my
And
God.
that means my Steam recommended is so fucked.
It's so bad. You play one anime game and they're like, "I got just the thing for you, buddy." And you're like, this seems really weird. Why
Yeah.
are there so many of these?
I keep getting ads for what I believe is a mobile game called Isekai Slow Life.
Okay.
And I don't know why.
It's an idle game for sure.
Okay.
Because I don't even like... I mean, Ian will disagree with this, but I actively dislike isekais.
Every
Oh, I thought you were
anime,
gonna say you just like gachas, and I was gonna go off on you about World of Warcraft.
Also gachas.
every anime is an isekai.
But- Man, I want to stop seeing this. That's not true. I want to stop seeing this. But I saw some people because like you can click on like comments and stuff, and I saw some people commenting and be like, "This is not what I expected." They forced me to like interact and romance these girls. I'm like, do you not know what an isekai is? Like,
yeah.
I can't believe I was
That's-
forced into this
I
other world.
can't believe, oh my God, and all the girls, they're all there. I can't believe it. An anime game with girls. That's why I like Token Ranbu. No women allowed.
Wow, I know what I have to cut from the podcast.
yeah. What a hater.
Whoa. You guys don't like Token Ranbu?
No.
I actually have no
It's
idea what it
it's
is.
Cancole, but with anime sword boys.
Dude,
I'm
you just
upset that I know what Cancol is.
to
You know
me,
what it is?
you
Yeah.
just explained a word with another word that makes no sense.
Okay, they're
But don't get into it.
they are browser based anime games.
Yeah,
That are
like
point and
AQ
click.
World.
Like Adventure Quest.
Yeah, like Adventure Quest.
Yeah. The real gamer is short form.
Kantai collection is
It sounds inappropriate.
it's navy ships that have been turned into little anime girls.
Yep.
And then Token Ranbu is
I'm pretty sure their tits and ass are used to like represent the size of their weapons on the ships. The size of them.
thanks Japan.
Thanks, Japan.
You're killing it. But Token Ranbu on the flip side is really hot anime guys that all have samurai swords and guns.
What do the size of their swords represent?
I don't know.
They're schlongs.
Nice. All right.
The size
Thank
of
you
their-
for listening to the Errata Sonata.
We enjoyed it.
Thank
Schlongs.
you. Thanks for listening to the Errata Sonata podcast. Do you guys actually have anything else you want to say before I wrap it unceremoniously around that big samurai sword?
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, guys.
Have a new year,
Yes.
everyone.
Please have a year this year. Happy New Year, guys. Can't wait to see you all at Nationals.
I can't wait not to see anybody because I'm just playing all roguelike deck builders on my phone.
I can't wait for next episode for you guys to ask me what I did in my new year, so
I
I, can
thought
talk
you-
about trails.
I thought you were just going to go into it. Instead, you were like, we're wrapping up the episode. And you wanted to be all mysterious.
It's because I'm too much of a gamer. It's that I'm like letting Jeremiah go off, and at the end of the
Jeremiah
day,
really went off.
yeah,
Eric asked me the other day, when was the last time you played a single player game? It was like 4 years ago. It was Pokemon Sword and Shield.
that's a bad one
That's
to end
awful.
I'm like, and I would not have even played that game if we weren't at the same house playing it together. Like, that's the only reason I played
on.
it.
Like, Eric was so insistent that he not get spoiled in the build up to it.
Yeah, single player games are not for me. If I'm gonna waste my time playing video games, I'm gonna waste my time with friends.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
I'm my best friend.
Yeah.
I just spend all my time by myself.
All right. Happy year, everybody.
Have a year.
Happy year.